What's up, guys? Universal Mastery. So what I do on my YouTube channel is I talk about the occult sciences and I break them down to a practical level so that you can apply them and use them in your day-to-day life. So what I'm going to be talking about in today's video is continuing on the segment of the Hermetic principles. So we're going to be talking about Hermetic principle number 5, which is everything is rhythm. Everything flows. Everything is rhythm and it flows. So if you want to know a little bit more about this principle, then stay tuned for the video. Okay, so the first thing that I want to say is definitely go and make sure you check out my Patreon. On my Patreon, I have exclusive content that is not uploaded to my YouTube channel. Okay, it is not open to the public. A lot of that content is going to be geared towards actually practicing, and I have some fundamental and foundational videos that are on there right now. So I would highly recommend, and I definitely advise you to go check it out. In order to gain access to those videos and to be able to conversate with me whenever you want about the occult with any of your questions, it's going to cost $9.95 to be a tier 2. To be a tier 2 is going to give you access to all those benefits, and then as you go up in tiers, I have all the way up to tier 4, you're gaining different benefits. Okay, so it's going to be $9.95 a month, and that's pretty much like a subscription, so it's going to be monthly. But if you do the math, that's literally less than $1 a day. So it's definitely worth it for the value that is on my Patreon right now. So definitely make sure you guys go and check that out. Where you're gonna find the Patreon is gonna be in the description, and it's gonna be the very first link at the top. So go check that out. Other than that, guys, going right into the video, everything is rhythm and the pendulum swings. Okay, what exactly does that mean? What does it mean when everything is in rhythm? So I want to break that down a little bit, because we understand rhythm as in music. We understand that, you know, when if I sit here and I go like this, that's a rhythm, okay? And the reason why I did that is because when you do that, you tap into something. So I don't know if you saw it, but when I was doing it, I was getting involved in it. Like I started like this, it started off just making a noise, and then you start getting into it. And then you start, if you want to add into the rhythm, then you have to tap into it. So if I want to add something like, you have to get into it. And that is one way of explaining how rhythm works. You tap into that you could say that music that I was making, and that was a rhythm that I was creating. Now on an energetic level, once again, that's what's going on. We're tapping into that rhythm. But what you need to understand, and what you want to understand, is that rhythm is everywhere. Conversation is a rhythm. The way that, so for example, this is my YouTube channel, this is my platform. So I create the rhythm on my platform. I talk about things that in real life scare a lot of people. I talk about things in real life that people don't want to deal with. They don't want to know this information, because if they do start to learn this information, they do start to know this, then it can cause them to transform. And some people do not want to go through that process. But that's a rhythm that I have for my channel. So for those of you that watch my channel, you're tuning into that rhythm. Okay? And another way that I can explain the like a rhythm, like an energetic conversational type of rhythm from one person to another person, or to a group of people to another group of people, would be when you start a new job. Okay, and you all should know this. When you start a new job, I want you to think about that time when you started a job and you were new. And you start walking around, you're a little bit nervous at first because you're starting to analyze the situation. You're just getting to know people. You're starting to figure things out in the workplace. You're pretty much the student, right? There's other people, though, that know what they're doing. There's other people that have been there longer than you, and they have more experience at that specific craft in the moment than you do on your very first day starting. And what you will also sometimes notice is that not only do they have more experience, but they have more experience with each other, meaning this person knows this person and that person knows this person. And they may have a rhythm in the workplace, meaning this person understands this person because they know them enough, they've known them long enough to understand how that person acts. And then this person over here knows how this person's going to respond and knows how this person acts on a generalized basis because they've worked with them long enough to see them handle certain situations. So that is also a rhythm. No, because when you enter the workplace, it's like you know where you stand. You know which role you essentially are going to fill, and you know what role you play. That is a form of rhythm. Now, let's say it's my first day. I enter that new job. I'm in the new workplace. I'm surrounded by different people, and they already have a rhythm going. Now, let's say that I'm feeling, and I've done this before, let's say that I'm feeling a little bit, let's just say I'm feeling energetic. Like, let's say I have a lot of energy to me and I'm going through a transition or a transformation where I feel like expressing myself in a very unique way. So because I have, tons of energy and I'm feeling like I'm going to start expressing myself in a very unique way, I might very well throw off that rhythm that they already have going. So they have this back and forth, they understand each other. Now I come in and I'm this fast moving vibration. And then I come in and I'm just, I'm just doing, what's the word? You could say I'm just being me in the moment. Like if I'm going through a transition where my energy is fiery and I'm through the roof and I have a lot to share and I'm not afraid to share. Like I'm not afraid to say what's on my mind. I am wise enough to recognize when a time is where I should probably hold back a little bit and not say too much because I don't want to get involved in some stuff that I don't want to put my energy into. But that comes and goes. So there's different, as you're transforming, as you go through different cycles of transformation, you're going to be influenced by different energies. Some energies are going to be more you literally like tapping into the rhythm of an existing already rhythm is going to be one of the most beneficial things that you can do because you're learning how to be with a community, or you're learning how to mesh in with everybody and really understand people from their perspective. That's actually kind of that's where I've been this past 2.5 to 3 months. I've been in that mindset because I've really been working through some of the higher planes. So you could say my higher self, my daemon, my mind has been essentially in a different realm, and my body is here. So in the physical plane, I'm just doing what I do. I'm getting along with people. We're still working hard. I'm doing what I do. But in my mind, what I'm doing in the astral realm, in the etheric realm, I'm doing tons of shit. I'm not doing shit that's blank. I'm purposely creating things for my future here. I'm creating my empire while not necessarily being fully here while I'm traveling. And this is just part of my transitional growth, okay? This is just where I was led to transform. And this is the part on my path where I'm meant to kind of pull back a little bit. But naturally, the kind of energies that I am, and some of you may know this by now, is a very fiery energy. I'm a very let's do this shit. I'm a very don't bullshit me. I'm a very don't bullshit yourself because I can see you. I can tell when you're lying to yourself. I'm a very fiery, let's become powerful. Let's create the lives that we want to live. Let's make an impact. let's actually make an impact. Let's do something that's going to bring value to others, or let's do something that's going to bring value to mankind. You know what I mean? That's my typical energy. That's what I'm comfortable with. That's what I mostly am. So let's say I enter a job, a new job, and I bring that energy. And I've done this before. I've thrown the already existing rhythm way off because of my energy. I'm vibrating fast. Even though, like, and when I say, when energy vibrates fast, it doesn't mean that I'm talking like this and I'm going like this. It just means that my energy is higher. I have more, you could say this, I have more power to my punch. I have more oomph behind my words, even if I'm not yelling. I could just be talking like this, and you can feel energetically that this kid has a lot to say. You can feel that this kid knows a lot. This kid, I don't even want to risk trying to prove this kid wrong or trying to get in an argument with this kid, because he's got so much energy and he'll end up over talking me. He'll just end up having more to say about what it is that we're arguing about, which can be a good and a bad thing. It can be a gift and a curse, because some people will be afraid to stand up and say how they feel, and then others, are just, the good things are that you're not going to get a bunch of bullshit spewed on you, because people sense it. They realize that you can read bullshit, and that's true. So for me, I had to do a lot of self-development, because a lot of people would not tell me where I was lacking, because people were afraid to tell me. So I did a lot of self-development, and thankfully I figured a lot of these things out on my own. And when I say on my own, I mean, like, I was looking for the answer, and it found its way to me through other people as well. So there, as soon as I started directing my attention, like, I want to learn in the areas of my life that I may be unaware of, that's when the world started really, I would do my thing, and then some random person would come over to me and just give me some solid advice about what it is I need to learn about myself out of nowhere. That's how spiritual work. That's how spiritual practices work sometimes. Your meditation is very important for this moment, and it's good for clearing your mind, and has so many benefits to it, to your psyche, your health, your emotional states, all those things. But you also have to realize that when you go back into the real world, when you leave that meditative state and you're out there and you're doing action again, that meditative state has now created situations for you moving forward. So be aware, be ready for those, be ready to learn something new, because that's what it does. Especially if you direct your intent into that, and then you can visualize, you can add all your tools, all your skills, all your abilities. But yeah, going back to the purpose of what I was talking about, rhythm. I come into this new job, I have a high energy, I throw off the rhythm. Now, at first, it's gonna shock people a little bit. It's gonna throw their egos off a little bit, because they were so used to having that already existing rhythm, and now here I come on my first day, and I'm completely throwing that off. So what eventually is going to happen, the way rhythm works, is the higher rhythm, the higher vibrations are always going to dominate. So eventually what would end up taking place is that existing rhythm that they all created, that they all were operating on, is eventually going to have to adapt to my vibration. So it's eventually going to have to adapt to my higher rhythm, my faster rhythm, my more intelligent rhythm, and my more meaningful rhythm. Because, let's say people are busy talking about sports and all those things, and then I come in and I'm talking about life after death, or if I start talking about self-improvement. That's depending on the transitional state I'm in. If I'm in that high energy where I feel like I can express these things, then they're going to have to adapt to that. And that's just how it works. And then vice versa. If I'm in a period of transformation where I feel like my energy isn't necessarily vibrating really fast, but I feel like I'm in a different plane, like I'm just not really here on earth, like as if my energy is transferring from my physical body to my completely over to my higher self or my daemon. And because of that, because that, it's making my physical body a little bit exhausted, but it's completely empowering my daemon. So my daemon is doing all the work, and I get to tap into that and exist over there in a different plane. Okay? It can get a little confusing, but if that's the case, then let's say I enter that job, I'm not going to be at this completely different rhythm as everyone else. I'm going to try and figure out the rhythm that's already existing in that environment, and then I'm going to tap into it. I'm going to tap right into that rhythm. And then there's also specific demons that you can work with that have a lot to do with shape-shifting. And this is another part where shape-shifting can come in handy, because when you work with a demon about learning how to shape-shift, essentially what that means in a more scientific level is you're learning new abilities to adapt, right? So let's say I shapeshift into a fucking werewolf, and yeah, we could say that, or you could say like I shapeshift myself into a cheetah or something. That to me would represent a fast vibration. That would be quick. That would be a high vibration. Now let's say I shapeshift into, you can play with it, right? Like it doesn't even have to be animals. You can just play with it. Like shapeshifting means you're changing your form in the astral and etheric realm, but once again, as above, so below, it actually affects your physical body. So if I'm shapeshifting to something that's really high vibration, then that's going to put me in that mental state. And a lot of times when you're already in a fast, high vibrational state, it's going to happen naturally. So a really good time to do shape-shifting is when you're looking at another group and you're trying to figure out how you can essentially kind of blend in so that you can continue, as what I'm saying, if you're doing works in your mind and there's a lot of dissolution. There's a lot of just not kind of being as present as you'd like to be, because you're spending a lot of your energy into your higher self or your daemon. That would be a good time to learn how to shapeshift, or not necessarily learn how to shapeshift. You should already know how to shapeshift. Working on shapeshifting, by working with a demon to learn how to shapeshift, it's going to help you adapt to different situations quicker and better. Okay, so just by learning how to do shapeshifting, no matter what form you choose to take, at first you may be hearing what I'm saying, and you're like, I don't understand what the fuck that means. You've got to just do it. So you got to start working with, you could say, a demon, and just simply ask, hey, I'm here working with you right now to learn how to shapeshift. Can you please show me how to do that? And then you'll start to understand what it is that I'm talking about. Now there are people that are listening that do understand what I'm talking about. So you would start working with a spirit to learn how to shapeshift, and you would literally be able to envision and visualize yourself turning into a different form and all those things. But then you'll see how it transfers over into the physical realm and right on Earth, and you become really good at adapting to different situations. So there are certain people, and this is a fact for every single person. There are certain people that trigger you, okay? There are certain people that you do not like. There are certain people that I don't like necessarily, that I just don't like. There are certain people that just get on your nerves. It's like you have to use willpower and energy to resist saying something, you could say, offensive to them, or risk saying something that would maybe not be appropriate for the moment, because they piss you off that much. There's just this type of person that you do not like. When you learn how to shapeshift, you also gain more mastery over yourself. You gain more mastery over your emotions, because you realize how rhythmic and how fluid energy truly is. So let's say there's that person that I don't get along with. I'm going to realize that I can shapeshift to get along with them, even though typically I wouldn't like that person when I'm bound to my egotistical, this is me, or this is I, and this is the kind of person I like, and this is the kind of person I don't like, which is beneficial. But when you learn how to shapeshift, you actually learn how to adjust even better. It's a little bit hard to explain, but it is 100% real, and it's absolutely beneficial, because then you learn. This is one of the biggest tips and tricks that's been out there for many years. I mean, this is a principle. You learn when you master your enemy by learning from your enemy. Okay? You learn how to master, you could say, beat or destroy your enemy by learning about your enemy from your enemy. Okay, now let me arrange what that exactly means. Once again, we all have certain energies that trigger us. There's certain types of people that we don't like. But when you actually get to connect with them, when you learn how to work on yourself and manage your emotions enough to start diving into practices like shapeshifting, changing your form, changing your perception, changing your paradigm, changing the way you're being perceived, then you start to, let's say you're able to now adapt to that person that normally would trigger you, and it's just a natural thing. It's a subconscious thing, meaning you're thinking to yourself, usually I'm triggered by this person, but right now I'm not. And I actually know how to get on this person's good side. I know how to make this person like me, and even I know how to make this person want to be my friend. Want to be my friend, or want to. And you can go as far as you want with this. I can show this. I can make this person want to make me their master. Essentially, you can change dynamics like that, and it gets very interesting. And when I say make this person want to be their master, I mean make this person want to show you how powerful they are, or how good they are, or how effective they can be. And when you can change dynamics like that, where you're making people prove themselves to you, and you're not telling them to, I'm not saying this. I'm not, hey, show me how good you are, or prove this to me. It's just the energy of me being able to adapt to them and be fully aware that normally I'm not into this kind of person, or I may still not really like this kind of person, but I'm learning from this person. I'm learning about what I don't like. And the more that you practice that, the more you widen your horizons of awareness in general, and you don't let things affect you the way they normally do. You could have someone lose their temper over something that you think they caused, and they lose their temper and they start throwing their hand in your face and calling you names, and you're gonna look at them like they're wasting energy. Like it's almost funny. Like, you silly human being. Go ahead, waste your energy. You're not gonna do none of what you're saying is gonna change anything. You're just venting. You just need to project all that energy out. And it's almost funny because people spend a lot of their time putting out so much energy, and they don't have a purpose for that energy. So, there's different levels to it, but that's pretty much what I want to share. That's another that was another key that I wanted to give you about being able to shapeshift, and how you can use that to really tap into different rhythms. And then the last point that I want to touch on before this video ends is rhythm has its polarities. Okay, just like everything is in balance, the rhythm. So let's say the rhythm is over here. The rhythm's going like this. It's very, I enter that new workforce. I enter that new workforce. There's the rhythm that's already existing. It's kind of like a mediocre rhythm. People talking about sports. It's not anything out of the ordinary. Eventually, within time, there will be something else, or there will be somebody else that incorporates a higher vibrational rhythm. Because if the rhythm is already mediocre, that means it's a lower vibration. So there will always be the polarity shift. So that means that there was someone like me that was bound to show up to that work area, because I meant to balance everything out. And I've played that role many times in my life, where I've been that high energy, you could say important person, because there's not, it's a rare person that gets to be that gets to be the one that plays the high energy, because the masses most likely are playing the lower vibration. And it's not that they don't have the potential to raise their vibration, or that they don't want to raise their vibration. It's just that it's not their priorities. They are comfortable enough doing what's basic and doing what's normal and not stepping out of the way. There is a level of cowardice that goes to it, and that's a fact. I'm not here to sugarcoat things. There is a level of fear that is holding them back, and not being able to overcome that fear. Then there's going to be people, once again, that will come in and they will shake that rhythm up, and they do not give a fuck what you think. They care about what you think in the terms of, how can I improve myself? How can I learn in this environment? You know, how can I help people? How can I offer people value? But they don't give a fuck about your opinions. They don't give a fuck about your energetic flaws, where you're offended, right? I don't give a fuck about that. I've had people, in my life, I've helped so many people. I've helped people literally transform their lives. And at the same time, while I was helping people, I had other people that were getting offended for saying what I was saying. Like offended, like pissed off to the point where they didn't want to be around me whatsoever. While I'm actually helping someone, I'm transforming their life. And I've had that happen to me so many times that I gained a solid understanding that, you know, it's not meant for everybody, right? Like when that person's walking off, I'm not trying to stop them and say, hey, look, like this is what's really going on here. I gotta let them walk off. I gotta let a sheep be a sheep. I gotta let weak people be weak people, because that's a balance. It's a balance. It comes into this principle. I used to be the person that wanted to help everybody, where it was like, I need to help the people that don't know how to get help. But what I didn't understand then was that everything needs to be in balance. There has to be that person that gets offended. Do you understand what I'm saying, guys? There literally is going to always be somebody that is going to display a form of low vibrational energy. And then there's always going to be someone that displays a high vibrational energy. And when you understand that principle, it makes a lot more sense. So that's why every now and then I will have a hater that goes in my comments on YouTube. And in a lot of people's mind, they may ask themselves, why is this person hating on me? Why is this person hating on me? Let me get logical about this. Let me figure out what they're saying and be logical about it and tell them to never do that again. But in reality, if I didn't have haters, then I'm not in balance. You get what I'm saying? So it's important. That's where the saying can come in: if you don't have haters, you're doing something wrong. And there's truth to that. You got to have balance. And thankfully, there's more people that are higher vibration towards my channel than people that are hating in lower vibration. But when you go to the masses, there's more people in a lower vibration than there are higher vibrations. When you work like regular 9-to-5s, and just the world in general, if you just go out and go to your local whatever, there's more people are lower vibrations than higher vibrations. So that's why I like to create the rhythm here, and it's the other way around. And you know, we're getting to a place in society where things are starting to get woken the fuck up, okay? So the rhythm will always end up shifting. It will always end up changing. There will, you know, you have that lower vibration at first with the rhythm when you first start the job. Then there will always be that person that shows up or that starts working there that's a higher vibration. And then when that person leaves, then, you know, it'll go back to its low vibration, and then another high vibration person will come, because the high vibrations are constantly growing. We're constantly moving, okay? We're constantly moving to the next thing. There's always something else. There's always a next step on the path. And I'm not saying that you work a job and you're only there for like 2 months and then you leave. I mean, it could be as long as it needs to be for your own transformational purposes. But it will end up happening eventually, because for everyone that vibrates at a higher level, for everyone that is pursuing self-development and working on themselves, working on their energetic aura and their bodies and their chakras and all of those things, their awareness, you've got a purpose, and your purpose revolves everything around finding a way to offer value to people in a way that you're gifted, in a way that you're talented, and in a way that you want to. Right? You're here to enjoy life. We're not here to be slaves. In a way that you want to, that you'll be able to monetize, that you'll be able to make money off of. And you can do it, and you will work normal jobs until you figure out that route. Okay? Until you figure out that pathway that you can take. But it's a fact that is what will end up happening for you. And maybe you'll end up working like a 9-to-5 at a very unique kind of company. As I was saying, maybe you'll work a 9-to-5 at like a very unique company, and you'll do really well there, and you'll be able to grow there. But pretty much the principle that I'm trying to highlight on is that we will always need room to grow because we're always transforming. We're living many lives in one life, okay? And we're always moving up. We're always growing, going to the higher planes. When you go to the higher planes, and I'm talking about astrally, etherically, and it will manifest in your day-to-day life. When you're existing at the highest of the high planes, on that level you're serving. Okay, you're starting to work with spirits that are a part of you, fully a part of you, have so much knowledge. You are essentially one with those spirits. They understand you, you understand them. You have similar goals, and you'll start to realize a lot of spirits have a very common goal with the ones that I work with, and I think a lot in general, a lot of the ones that are talked about, and a lot of the ones that are important in our society, they want the evolution of mankind. They are literally actively trying to help us evolve. And that's what I find awesome. I find that fascinating. That shows me that there's got to be something more to that. You know, there's got to be some ancestral ties that connect to that. Why would a certain being out there want me to evolve to my highest level? To a level that can even surpass that being? Why is that? And I have to ask myself the same thing. Like when I go to help somebody learn something, I want them to learn as much as they can. If they can learn as much as they can from me to the point where they move past me, that's amazing. There's not one thing in my mind that says I do not want this person to move past me because that will look bad for me. Like that doesn't exist in my mind. So if I can look at somebody and if someone's wise enough, that's the thing. It's like there's not many people that can, right? I haven't met someone yet that can go past me with what I got up here yet. I haven't met somebody yet, and I'm sure I will eventually. And it may end up. I don't know. I don't know how that will end up manifesting. It might end up being my own children one day. But let's say there is somebody and they start really absorbing what I'm saying. They start getting massive results from it, like to the point where it becomes their life, and they realize that the potency of it. Then I want them to go as fast and as far and as effectively up as they can. I want them to grasp as much knowledge as they possibly can. And I have friends right now that I have one friend that I helped gain knowledge on when it comes to the clip-off, and I guided him in the right direction to initiate himself, and I pretty much kind of guided him a little bit through it because he did his own initiations. Very intelligent guy, very intelligent. And he's definitely up there with one of my most I would say like most powerful friends. I have a friend group that is insanely powerful, and all I had to do was pretty much tell him my experience through the spheres, and he ran with that, and he initiated through the spheres too, and he's been killing it. Absolutely. I've seen this kid's life transform, like my life's been transforming because I'm still in it, right? But I saw him go through the spheres that I had already went through, and he's killing it. He's cut things out of his life that he never thought was possible, and he's manning up and doing that shit. But yeah, so I can only imagine that if I feel the same way like that, that's got to be some form of spiritual influence that's also making me feel that way. And not only is it some spiritual influence, but it's got to be a fucking powerful one. It's got to be a very powerful spirit that would want to see someone thrive that much. And those are the spirits that I work with. I don't work with Yahweh. I don't work with Jehovah. I don't work with Allah. I don't work with any fucking other of those spirits that get jealous. I'm not here to work with any type of spirit that's going to hold me back or not want me to be a certain level and want me to serve them. So when you get to the higher planes, you pretty much serve with those spirits, meaning you serve the higher purpose, which is that source energy, as your own individualized consciousness. And then when you serve on, this was the point, and then when you serve on the higher planes, when you understand that, when you have those divine allies, when you have those infernal allies, when you have powerful allies up there, excuse me, you rule on the lower planes. So you rule here Okay, up there you're serving with, down here you are ruling. People will look at you like you're a fucking god. And it's not that you're anything different than that person. You're not necessarily. It just means the only difference you are from that person is that you chose to do the work. The only difference is that you chose to take action. You chose to be fearless. You looked at fear and you went past it. That person that's calling you a god and is not calling themselves a god did not look at fear and choose to move past it. They did not choose to work on themselves. They would rather play video games. They would rather watch porn. They would rather hang out with their friends and get drunk. They would rather smoke a bunch of weed, right? So it all comes down to the choices you make, and it comes down to how bad do you really want it. Okay, because if you want it that bad, then you will figure out things that you can do to improve your life, to be the best you that you can be. And trust me, it's a process and it's a tough one, and it will weed you the fuck out. It will really test you to see if you're serious about it. But if you consist with that path, I promise you, you will not regret it. That's what I'm going to leave it at, guys. Definitely make sure you go and check out my Patreon. It's going to be the first link in the description. Hit that thumbs up over here. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. Go to the second link below. That's going to take you to the Streamlabs merch, where you can place an order for a Hecate sigil shirt that they will ship right to your door. Then you go to the third link below. That's going to take you to the Facebook community. You're going to go there, you're going to see a pin post that says private group. Click that private group post and it will transport you over to the private group where you can request to join, and I will add you in. Other than that, guys, once again, I'm going to leave it here. Have a great rest of the day or night wherever you are, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.